Hi everyone, welcome to day 3 of the mini refresh and reboot. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. I hope you're learning something. I'd love to hear from you and hear what's resonated and whether or not you have any questions. And as always, we go until the 14th, so if there's anything that you want to know, any specific areas that you want me to target, please ask in the comments, private message, or via email. I would love to hear from you. So day 1 for our movement, we focused on the core. Day 2, we focused a little bit more on core and then also on upper body work that we can do simply using our body weight without having any props. So today we're going to move into the lower region of the body, but we're going to focus on glutes, which is your seat, your derriere, your rear, your booty, which I think really are so very intertwined with your core. And we're going to focus a little bit on the back of the thigh, the hamstring. And then, of course, we'll be getting into our calves and all those muscles that support. But our focus today is going to be in our glutes, our seat, and in our hamstrings, the backs of our thighs. I'm going to do my very best to keep this one a little shorter. So I'm just going to throw some tidbits out there and try not to. My urge is always to give you everything that I know. I'm going to try to hold back a little bit and keep it quick and keep it simple. So with the other videos, it's been fine just to start them cold, but today, if you are coming at this for the first time, meaning that you haven't moved yet today, I would recommend maybe walking your block a couple of times or doing some jumping jacks or having a quick little dance party with your kids, something to get you moving and to get your heart rate up a little bit before we get started, and then come back and join me. Once you're ready, we're going to start on our backs, and we're going to start with one of my very favorite exercises, which is called bridge. So if you scroll back through the discussion feed in this group, you'll see that from last week's, or actually this week's, Workout Wednesday, I posted a quick little bridge video. So I'm going to try to do some different variations here today, but you can always refer back to that one as well. I love bridge. I think it's highly effective, and sometimes it's nice not to have to be standing to do all of your work. So we're actually going to explore 3 different positions today for targeting the seat and the hamstring. So we're going to start in the bridge position. You want your feet to be about hip or sitting bone distance apart. So that means that they're a little narrower than the width of your actual hips. Best way to test: just lift your head, and if you can see your feet, you know you're too wide. Your feet should be hidden by your hips. Next thing we want to check is just that we feel the entire foot on the floor, so you're not rolling to the outer edges or the inner edges of your feet. And then we want to make sure that we've spread the shoulders out nice and wide across the mat. So to warm ourselves up just a little bit through the spine, we're going to do a few rolling bridges to start. So you're just going to inhale as you peel your spine up away from the floor. And then you're going to exhale as you roll your spine back down. So when you roll up, you just want to think of going from the tailbone up to the base of the shoulder. And then when you roll yourself back down, you're rolling from the base of the shoulder. And then that tailbone is the last thing that meets the mat. Let's do that just 2 more times. So just remember that every add-on or every variation that we do today, you don't have to do today. Some of them we can always set as goals, something to work toward, especially if movement is a new habit that you're incorporating into your life. Let's roll down out of this last bridge. And I just want to address the knees really quickly. So everybody's placement, foot placement, is going to be slightly different. If you're feeling a lot of pressure in your knees, it might be that your feet are too far away from you. And you might try just walking your feet in an inch, inch and a half to see if that helps relieve that pressure. Ideally, your heels are underneath your knees when you're in bridge. So try adjusting that placement if you need to. So let's find our neutral spine. And remember from day one, you can do that just by lining up the ribs and the hips, or by checking that triangle to make sure all 3 points are level. We're going to keep the spine neutral from the neck down, from below the neck down, and we're just going to lift up and lower down. Breath can really go either way here. So no longer are we articulating the spine. We're keeping the spine in that neutral shape, and we're just lifting up and lowering down. I'm going to choose to exhale on the way up because I'm focusing my work in my seat and my hamstrings. Press through your heels as you lift as a way to better trigger those hamstrings and that seat. Let's do 2 more. And you're just moving at your own pace with this. Let's do 1 more. This one we're going to hold up at the top. And then we're just going to do tiny little pulses of the hips. It's a little up and squeeze. And you can see if you look at me how small it is. So it's not a drop and lift. You're already contracted and you're just pressing a little higher, contracting a little more. Let's see if we can go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold it at the top. Take a nice big breath in, and then exhale, give yourself a roll down. That'll just help release tension in your back. Draw your knees into your chest for just a moment. Release these muscles. And then come back into position. So we're going back to that parallel position where the feet are about hip or sitting bone distance apart. But this time you have an option to add on, and this is going to fire up your hamstrings just a little bit more. So if you like, you can lift your heels and push the weight in each foot into your big and your second toe. And then we're going to do exactly the same sequence. So we take the neutral spine from below the neck down, and we exhale, lift it up, and we inhale, lower it down. Exhale up, inhale down. You could always reverse the breath. If you notice you're kind of dropping yourself back down to the floor as you lower, you can use that exhale on the way down, and it may help control your movement. Let's do 2 more of these. Make sure you're still pressing on your big and your second toe. You don't want to roll out to your pinky toes here. You want to stay right over the big and the second toe. Next one we're going to hold at the top. And then we're just going to take those little pulse and squeeze movements straight up toward the ceiling. Breathe. There's no real breath pattern here, but you just want to keep a good inhale, exhale going. If you notice your chin is starting to be shoved in toward your chest, just lengthen out your neck a little bit. How about we go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take an inhale at the top. Exhale, roll it down. And then draw the knees into the chest. Maybe give yourself a little rock. Release any tension that may have gathered in the low back. Let these muscles stretch out a little bit. And then you can either rock yourself up to seated or roll to one side and press yourself up. And we're just going to come around to all fours. So we'll take the wrists right underneath the shoulders, the knees right underneath the hips. This is another position in which I really like to work the seat and the hamstring. Awesome thing about this position is it's also working your upper body and your core for stabilization. So just like plank from yesterday, you want to make sure your chest is sitting right in between your shoulders. We're going to take one leg, doesn't matter which, and extend it back behind us. Now, before we go anywhere else, we want to make sure the spine is neutral, parallel to the floor, and then we want to turn the thigh and the knee straight down to the mat. So it's not turning out to the side, straight down. And then we're going to flex the foot and lift the leg up and start with little pulses here. So you can see that my movement is super small. I'm not doing a big kick and going into my back. I'm keeping my core engaged. And I'm just squeezing that area where my hamstring and my seat come together. So let's do maybe 8 more of these, and we're just breathing nice and easy. So we've got about 4, 3, 2, we're gonna hold the leg up there and we're gonna add a hamstring curl. So we're gonna exhale, curl in, inhale, release, exhale, curl, inhale, release. You can see I'm fighting really hard to keep my thigh lifted the whole time, so my seat is constantly engaged. Let's do 4 more of these. Really working on centering the weight so we're not shifting over to one side. I think we have 1 more. Next time I'm going to have you bend and hold. Flex your foot and then just push like you're trying to stamp your heel into the ceiling. I almost said your ceiling into the heel, which would not be pleasant. So still really lifted through your center. Quiet back. Let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. Take child's pose for just a moment. Release. Breathe. And then come back up and we'll do the other side. So wrists are right underneath the shoulders. Knees are right underneath the hips. We've got that nice neutral spine. Chest is sitting square in between the shoulders. Take the opposite leg, extend it back behind you. Make sure you turn the top of the thigh and the knee straight down. And then go ahead and lift your leg and begin that little pulse and squeeze. So I'm really working on breathing and engaging through this lower region of my core, because that's what prevents me from getting into my back. And if you start to arch your back, that's where the risk of injury comes into play and pain, which is not good. So very, very quiet, very small movement. I think we have about 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more. Hold it up there and hamstring curl. Exhale in, inhale out. Exhale in, inhale out. Keeping that thigh lifted the whole time. Now from time to time, I will check to make sure I'm not shifting to one side by lifting the hand off the mat that is opposite my working leg. I think we've got 2 more hamstring curls. Hold the curl, flex the foot, and then just little press ups. Up, up, squeezing right at the base of the seat, top of the hamstring. Good. Breathe. We go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and child's pose. Release. So just for an added little stretch, little bonus, let's take the hips to one side and the torso to the other. Nice little gentle stretch. And then switch. And then the final exercise, we're going to do standing. So gently and slowly, come up to your feet. So this has so many different names. It's called hinge, seesaw, warrior 3. If you're a yogi, has a ton of other names. Good mornings, flamingos. It is one of my favorite exercises for shaping the back of your leg and lifting your seat. So I'm going to just use my wall as support here. You could use a table, a chair, your countertop in your kitchen, whatever works best for you. So all we're going to do is stand with our feet hip distance and parallel. I'm going to have you soften both knees just slightly, and this is going to be really important because what I don't want you to do is grip the fronts of your thighs. I want you to really focus this exercise in the back of the leg where the hamstring and the seat come together. So standing up nice and tall, beautiful posture. We're going to take the right leg back behind us. So we've made this shape on the right side. As we hinge up and down, the shape itself is not going to change. So you'll see we take the weight into the left foot, and you especially want the weight to be in the heel. And then all you do is hinge forward and hinge back up. So you can think of your pelvis rocking forward, rocking up. And we inhale on the way down and exhale on the way up. Inhale down, exhale up. Now I'm trying to keep my hips and my shoulders square. Either if I'm upright to the wall in front of me, and when I'm hinging over to the floor. Every time you come up, you want to really push this standing heel down into the ground, and that's what's going to activate that hamstring. Let's do one more at this range of motion. And then what you're going to do is hinge over to your low point. So you don't have to come parallel to the floor. I just happen to have flexibility in my hamstring. If your hamstrings are tighter, you can be on a slight incline. Make sure the weight is in your standing heel, knee is soft, and you're going to do what we call little rock ups. So it's just a smaller version of that hinge. Exhaling every time you rock up, just a few inches down, few inches up, and you're always pushing this heel, this standing heel, down into the floor. And you should really start to feel this section right here. Let's go for 4, 3, 2. Hold the base of your hinge, whatever that is for you, and then try to balance. And this should not be easy. It should be harder than you think. And this area right here should be on fire. Breathe into your core for 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly come up and just shake out that standing leg, and we'll do that on the other side. So start with those feet hip distance and parallel. Soften the knees just a little bit. Stand tall. So last time we took the right leg behind us. This time we'll take the left leg back. So you can see we've made this shape on the left side that isn't going to change. All we're going to do is inhale, rock forward. Exhale, rock up. Weight is in the standing heel. And remember, every time you come up, you push that heel down into the ground. Inhale over. Exhale up. I'm trying to keep my shoulders and my hips square so that I'm not rotating outward. Breathing into my core, that's my stability. Right into that center. Inhale and exhale. Let's do 4 more of these. 3 more. Remember, your range of motion does not have to be huge. 2 more. 1 more. And then rock to your low point, whatever that is. Make sure the weight's still in the heel, and then those smaller rock ups. And every time we rock it up a few inches, we push this heel down into the ground, and we start to feel that fire right where the hamstring and the seat come together, and that's where that booty lift happens. And I know, especially in the mind-body community, there's this shying away from talking about aesthetics, but let's be real. We all want a nicely shaped booty, right? So these are the exercises that are going to help you get there. Last 2. Last 1. Hold your hinge. And now try to balance. It doesn't necessarily mean if you're holding onto a chair that you have to take all 10 fingers off. You could try 1 finger from each hand and start there. Breathe into your core. Let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on up and shake it out. So quick little stretch, and then you'll be done for the day. Come on down to your back. We're going to start just with a nice simple hamstring stretch. So Go ahead and take one leg, extend it up toward the ceiling. You can clasp behind the hamstring or the calf, but never around your knee. Always leave that knee alone. And to start, I just want you to breathe deeply and think about moving your leg toward your chest. That's all. Big, big, deep breaths. Your knee can be slightly soft, especially if your hamstring is tight. Because we just did all this activation work, my knee is currently soft. You'll see if I were to stay here for a while, I would gradually be able to lengthen my leg. But for now, it's tight, so I'm keeping it soft. I'm also keeping my foot relaxed because sometimes when we flex the foot, all the stretch goes into the calf and we forget about the hamstring. So if you feel like you can go a little deeper, try not to let the leg release away from you. Keep it where it is, but at the same time, press your tailbone toward the floor, and that should target this area that we just worked. And always we're breathing super deep, right? Now, all you're gonna do is take this ankle, the one that's extended in the air, cross it over the opposite thigh. Then take your front leg, press it gently open. You should now feel this in the side of your seat. You can stay right here, or if you like, you can take both legs and draw them towards your chest. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna breathe really nice and deep. Try to soften those muscles as much as possible. A couple ways to go deeper here without releasing the legs. They continue to draw in. You can either take the hand and very gently press the front leg open, very gently. Or you can, again, like we did in the hamstring stretch, press your tailbone toward the mat or toward the floor. And let's switch sides. So first we take that hamstring stretch, we extend the leg up toward the ceiling. Remember, you just want to avoid your knee. We start to really breathe deeply. That leg is coming toward the chest. And always avoiding comparison, right, between yourself and anybody else. So if you are tight through the back of your leg, we all have places where we're tight and places where we're flexible. And the leg was back here, you can take a towel and just wrap it around the back of your thigh and use the towel to draw your leg in, and there's zero judgment. No judgment whatsoever. We start where we are and we work from there, and I'm just the same as you. You just happen to be seeing today places where I am flexible. When we get into the quads, not so much. For me, that's one of my tight places and in the front of my hip. So, no judgment. Everybody's in the perfect place for them today. Let's go ahead and take this ankle, cross it over the opposite thigh. Let that front leg open. I don't know if you can hear the screaming that is suddenly coming through my window. I think there's a birthday party going on next door, and it is just too hot to close the window today. So that's what it is, if you can hear it. Now you can stay here, or you can choose to draw both legs in. And again, you could take a towel and just wrap it behind that thigh and use the halves of the towel. Or you can see right now, I'm just using the back leg to press the front leg in. And that works beautifully as well. And then if you want to take that hand to the front leg and very gently press it open, you can. Or very gently start to ease your tailbone toward the floor. Great options. All right, so I have already posted. Nutrition tip for today is all about water consumption, and then self-care, a little bit about sleep, and a couple tips and tricks for maybe getting better sleep. One of which is to take the breathing that we've been working on for the past 2 days and incorporate that as a bedtime ritual, as part of a bedtime ritual. So if you have any questions, let me know. Happy day 3. I will see you tomorrow for day 4. Bye.